First thing in the morning. Morning inspections. Good morning, YouTube. I forgot to do the garden tour yesterday, so we're doing it today. Lots of things have changed since last time. I have ripped a lot out and put a lot in, and we're about to rip a bunch more out soon. Also, update on the belly. I am 35 weeks, 2 weeks to go until full term technically. So we're in this weird middle ground where the baby can literally come in 2 weeks or 6. So hopefully it's sooner rather than later because I just want to start getting adjusted. All right, let's get this tour started. It's a sad day, or week actually. I ripped the pumpkin vine out. So I had 2 fruit on a total of 4 vines, and I looked at one of the fruits in the morning and there was literally a worm sticking its little butt out, pooping out of the pumpkin. I saw that, I'm like, well, if they made it all the way to the fruit, then there's no hope. And there was only 2, and all the other buds that were coming on were falling off before they got pollinated, so I just threw them in the chicken coop. Chickens ate them. They're already all basically nothing anymore. Next thing to come out is this set of T-posts and welded wire, and we're gonna put it over there where those other 2 T-posts are and make the garden fenced off a little bit more. Same with this section. This had the cucumbers on it, and I just ripped them out because the cucumbers were just getting pretty bad, covered with those Asian beetles, the ones that look like orange ladybugs. They're just eating it all up, and anyway, I took them out. So the cucumbers were getting really bitter. Like even the little ones that I was picking early, they were gross. And I figured instead of having somewhere and something in the garden that can feed pests, I'm just gonna get them out. So I pulled them out, gave those to the chickens. Here we have the tomatoes, which we have not been getting just a whole lot, but we have been getting some. I have so far harvested, I think, 4 pounds total between, let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 tomato plants. So I get like 1 tomato off of every other plant every couple of days. I've been harvesting them just a couple of days after I noticed them start to blush to where they're more of a pink than a yellow, because the pests have been getting at them where they're getting gross, or it rains and I want to get them out of the garden before they split. And I've been leaving them on the counter until they turn red, and then I'll make them into sauce. And I've done that twice so far. I harvested throughout 1 week 2 pounds 2 weeks in a row, and I made sauce twice. So I think that's pretty good though. So far, I think my biggest tomato was 6 ounces. I know that's pretty small. I don't remember for sure. I think I wrote it on my chalkboard, so I will put that in the video if I can find that. Dance walking through the trellises so that I don't get a spider web to the face. One right here, as long as it stays good, is the biggest one so far that is starting to blush, just barely starting to blush. I'll probably pick that one that's yellow probably tomorrow, unless it rains before then. Alright, so I have dealt with leaf curl so far in a couple of different ways. This is different. The leaf curl first was like down. The leaves were like curling more like that. Now they're curling like this. And I think this is too much water? I'm not sure. Or maybe too much heat. I'll have to look at this again. But yeah, we shall figure it out eventually. I've also been seeing spots like this all over everything. And I don't know what it is, but I've just been getting rid of it, and it seems to be helping. A little baby sucker trying to start, and then one that did get started splitting the thing. I think I might just let it go though, since it's already pretty tall. If you spray anything in the garden on the plant, you want to spray in the evening, because even if it was early in the morning before it got hot, it's still on the plant, and the sun, once it does start hitting the plants, it can cause it to like magnify the heat of the sun on the plant and burn the plant. Massive basil in between a couple of tomato plants. This is supposed to be a dark opal basil, but it must just not be getting a whole lot of sunlight to not be turning purple. Like, that's the same variety. It should be that color, but it's still nice. It looks good. So much fruit on here. Now, I came through a couple of days ago, pruned the tomatoes back pretty good, got rid of a lot of suckers, and I was noticing that on a lot of the plants I was getting tomatoes that were only like the size of grape tomatoes, and I'm not growing grape tomatoes. I'm growing Romas and beefsteak slicers. Very basic, but they were like the size of grape tomatoes. So I went around, and on each cluster of fruit I picked a couple off. I've noticed this happening a lot too. There'll be like a sucker that comes off of a cluster of fruit. So, the suckers, like their name, they suck the nutrients away from the fruit and to make more foliage. And I want to be growing fruit, not foliage. And the plant has plenty of foliage. It doesn't need to like start growing a whole nother plant. So I try to pull them off as much as I can, but some of them I leave. Like, I'll show you this one. I got away from me really early, and I didn't know which one was the main one, so I just left it. So it's basically 2 tomato plants out of 1 stalk. I kind of like pulled it away from each other. I'll show this later in the video, but I started more tomatoes in my seed tray. I just got them all transplanted, and I fertilized them when I transplanted them into bigger pots, but it's still too hot to put them anywhere in the garden. And I kind of want to put them where the corn is, so we got to get the corn out of the garden first in order to do that. And I need to till up the soil and see if I can find some stuff real cheap to amend the dirt, because the dirt, it's just not doing that great. So that's the plan though. Those Asian beetles have been getting at this second round of cucumbers pretty bad. That's another thing. Next month I think I might buy another package of cucumber seeds, because I think I even started this second round too early, and I want to try growing them in the fall when it's cooler, because of the flavor of them. It's so much better. Those are what I'm talking about, the Asian beetles. So this is a small second round of green beans, and what I've done differently this time around, first of all, fertilizing. Second of all, I have been pruning them, and if I can see, some of them are getting spots like that, and I won't pick that one off, but if it got any worse, I would pick it off. And that seems to be helping them a lot. They're just kind of loaded with fruit. Even though it's been pretty hot, I've heard that the bean plants will drop their blossoms if it's too hot, but maybe they're getting enough shade over here where that's not happening. This is my biggest sunflower head. I'm gonna start, I don't know when to pick it off, when it'll be ready, but I get so excited when other people get excited about my garden. I was walking around here with my husband the other day, and he saw that sunflower and he was like, whoa, it's so big. Like, I know. What? You need to stay here. Golly, sorry for the sloppy video. It's so pretty. There's a lot of flowers on these bean plants. I actually prefer the flavor of the pole beans over the bush beans and the texture. figure out if this is any concern or if it's just normal. Pretty gross looking. Like white, almost looks like mold. I've been getting a handful of the beans at a time from the pole bean plants. So full of blooms though, I bet it's not gonna be long before we get a pretty good harvest. These are my burgundy beans from Haas Tools. They're called Royal Burgundy beans. It's a bush bean variety, and I'm super excited because they're gonna be so pretty. Here I planted some carrot seeds, but they haven't come up yet. A bunch of bugs under here. We'll see. I have this cardboard here to keep them from drying out. I'm not sure that's gonna work. I might need to put more like a board on top of it. But if this doesn't sprout in the next couple of days, then I'm going to retry or reseed. And this sweet potato patch is starting to climb into the next box and flow out. My oh my, these are pumpkins. I'm trying to keep a close eye on these so that they don't get the same story with the vine borers as last time. I don't know. These take a really long time to mature. It's like over 100 days. I don't know. We should make it because I planted them, I think, with like 120 days until the first estimated frost. We'll see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zucchini plants started. The chickens free range last night or yesterday all day, and I think that they got into those because those kind of look sad, and they like to scratch around in the last round of zucchini plants that I had. So I don't think I'm gonna let them do that anymore. Look at this cantaloupe. Oh my gosh. I don't know when those are supposed to be picked, but I don't think it's yet because they're still green. Another one. Just about the same size. This one looks better. Less dirty. Oh, this is one cantaloupe plant. And then I think this part of it is another one. I don't think there's any fruit on this one though. It's starting to grow up the corn stalks. I really said a whole lot about the corn. I'm kind of underwhelmed, honestly. It's really tall. It's kind of cool that it's tall, but we did not get very many ears at all. It was kind of sad. I was really hoping for a lot. Next year we'll do better. Next year I'm going to plant them a little more intentionally, space them out a little bit better. I think I planted some of them too close. I did not amend the soil at all. I mulched them, but I didn't amend the soil like nutrition wise. So, and I'm gonna plant them over there next time. It's gonna get more sun throughout the day. This gets shaded by like 4 o'clock, but over there gets sun from like now until maybe 6 or 7, at least this time of year. So, and I don't think I'm gonna grow Indian corn. I think I'm gonna grow sweet corn, one kind of sweet corn, because we can eat that ourselves and we can give it to the chickens if we want to. But the Indian corn, I don't think you can eat it at all. Maybe popcorn, like popcorn, but I don't know for sure. Bell peppers don't produce as much as the hot peppers do, the plants I mean. But I have had a couple come on the bushes, and Jack pulled one off when it was like this big. I was so sad. I just told him to give it to the chickens, and I need to figure out how to get him to understand that that's not okay. You gotta wait. You gotta wait for mommy to tell you it's okay to pick stuff off the garden. Here, it looks like something is already eating these. I think I started these too soon in the ground. Too many pests out right now. This is either radishes or turnips. I don't remember. I'll put it in the video in text if I can find the video that I had for it before. I need to thin this side of it out. Yep, more burgundy beans over here too in the middle. I need to get more diatomaceous earth. Put it all over everything. These are either radishes or turnips also. They seem to be doing better than the other ones. They're not getting eaten as much. They're all around this box. This side is doing way better. More growing on this side. And so far, the longest surviving pepper. bell pepper. These are my Kentucky pole beans from Haas Tools. It looks like something might be eating the leaves off of them though. Hopefully they make it. Stuff needs to stop eating my food, other than me. In the space back here, behind the fence, I planted beet seeds and they have not germinated yet. But I don't remember how long it takes them to germinate, so I don't think it's really something to be worried about. This is my Malabar spinach. I harvested a little bit off of it the other day. Haven't figured out if it tastes better when it's this size or if it's a little bit bigger, if that's okay too. But it's so pretty. I love the pink, the dark pink purple vine. Just love it. I also planted the Kentucky pole beans along the property fence. 2 sections of the fence over. Well, that's the garden. The next step is I'm gonna wait a couple weeks and then plant my starts that are in the garage, and I'm gonna show those to you guys in a minute too. It might not look so neat, but we had an extra dining room chair. We brought it out here so that I had somewhere to sit and think in the garden, figure out what I want to do in the garden. And then these pallets are actually not going to go here. They are going to be for composting. My husband's going to build me like a frame to compost in. It's going to be really nice. The MI Gardener vloggers, I saw that they use pallets. They make like a U with 3 pallets, and that's what we're gonna do because that looks like it'll be pretty easy to maintain. Right now I'm using welded wire that we connected into like a spiral, not spiral, but like a hoop, and it's too hard to turn the compost in the hoop because the fork gets stuck in the slots in the welded wire. It's really annoying, so we're gonna do something different. All right, these are my beefsteak, my extra beefsteak tomatoes that I'm gonna be putting in the ground in a couple of weeks. Probably in 2 weeks, I think it'll be cooled off enough. We'll be past the main part of the summer. And then these smaller ones, those are the Amish paste tomatoes from Haas Tools. I remember which ones are which because of the ones that are in the bigger pots were the beefsteaks that I started earlier because I had those seeds first. And then the ones in the smaller pots were transplanted out of the seed tray. And that's a mint. That's not going in the garden. That's just there. And then this is a broccoli. I think that's a kale. And that's a kale. And I don't remember what that is, but that got eaten up by something. These are the Amish paste tomatoes. All of them in here in Amish paste. I've got a couple brassicas in here that I forgot to label. I don't remember what they are. And the seed tray has got, let's see, mustard greens, cabbage, kale, broccoli, radishes, beets, and turnips, and Swiss chard. The radishes, the beets, and the turnips all in the garden already. I'm experimenting to see if it works better to do them in a seed tray and transplant them, kind of keep them away from the pests while they get a little bit bigger. So we'll see. We need to get more diatomaceous earth and neem oil to help protect these because they seem to have really a hard time with pests. Like a lot more things like to eat these, or maybe it just happens faster. I don't know. But yeah, that needs to be done. Anyway, that's all I have for the garden update today. Thanks for walking with me through the garden this morning, guys. Bye.